Hi all, it's me Ryan here. Today I'm going to show you guys how to build a computer around 1K around there for most esports titles using used and new parts. Generally, the games that I'll be targeting at would be mostly Apex Legends, CSGO, so let's get right into it. This build consists of a mixture of used and new parts. The choice of parts is quite simple as the user of this computer which I'm making isn't really that tech savvy. So if let's say there's some issues with Windows drivers or let's say some games that are incompatible to run on the platform that I'm making for them, then there'll be a bit of an issue for them. Since a most mature platform would be Intel. Hence AMD isn't really in this picture. And then also the main user system is gaming, so it won't really benefit from an AMD processor that's more targeted for people who even do light video editing or streaming, who intend to do that in the future. But for the user, it's not really much, it's just gaming mostly, so this is where the main target will be going, hence I will go for an Intel processor too. For budget GPU, I went for 1070. It's quite an easy choice as the price of this card is really cheap nowadays and it beats out the 1660 Ti and 1660, which are both quite expensive cards brand new today. Hence it was a Zotac 1070 that I went for. Another important factor to consider is what sort of use of the system will be in. Let's say if it's gaming wise, then will you be playing games that are using RTX technology? If they're not, then you're better using off a card that doesn't have RTX in it, and now you're paying for features that you won't really be using. Hence the GTX series cards. Okay, for storage wise, it's quite simple. There definitely needs to be an SSD in any system nowadays. So using a hard drive is going to be really slow in Windows 10. Hence I went for 256GB SATA M.2 SSD as to save space so that I don't have to put in a big 2.5-inch drive and just use one of the NVMe slots on this motherboard. Hence that brings us to our motherboard. At this price range, you can't really flex out on or spend on really expensive motherboards such as this one in the system over here. Hence I went for a very basic motherboard, which is something like the ASRock H310M M.2, so that I have the M.2 slot there for using an NVMe drive or a SATA drive, which in my case I use a SATA drive. For new parts, it's a Wi-Fi card, which you don't really need to use in your system unless you're using a wired connection. i5-9400F processor, 16 gigs of Corsair 3000MHz RAM, and a 256GB M.2 SATA SSD. Though you don't really want to buy used storage devices as some of them may already have bad sectors when you buy them. For used parts, I got a 600W PSU, a Cooler Master Master Box Lite 5 RGB case, GTX 1070 Zotac Mini graphics card, a 1TB HDD which I use HDTune, which is a free software to check your hard drive sectors, and last of all the ASRock H310MG motherboard, which is quite a good deal I'll say. Assembly of the system was simplistic, though my Zotac GTX 1070 mining card took quite a long time to return back from RMA, thus there was a 2 months gap in between me actually building the system, then me adding the graphics card to the system after the build was done. So now for benchmarks, let's get right to it, so you can see how well the system performs. Is quite a capable system in terms of CPU power and GPU power. Hence your time spice score in 3D Mark was 5795, which is quite capable to run any games today. That's not at max settings for AAA titles, those let's say you really need a better graphics card for that. Let's say you're building a system and you're wondering what sort of monitor to choose. Well, basically your monitor also plays a massive role in a system. Basically, let's say you're having a 1080p monitor, you don't really need very high-end graphics cards to run at 144Hz or get around 60fps. Though if you say you're using a 1070 and you're pairing it with just say a 2K resolution monitor, somewhat like the one I have behind here, which is a Supersolid monitor, you're gonna have a bit of a struggle as it's pushing 2 times the resolution. That means 2 of the 2 monitors combined into one screen to basically push a lot more pixels. So that's gonna require a more powerful GPU. Obviously you go to the extreme end of the slider, which will be 4K, which is 2 times of 2K. It's quite insane. You need something like a 2080 Ti or something like that to run it at decent frame rates or even 144Hz if you really not max out the settings. So your monitor does play quite a big role in deciding what sort of components you're using in your system. So if you guys would want to do this yourself, you can get a case for around 10 to 50 bucks depending on the condition that you're looking for and the specifications in the casing. An i5 9400F for about $240, this price may vary on your location. A GTX 1070 for about $230 to $250 on Carousel. H310M motherboard for about $98 to $100, you can't even get it brand new for around this price. 400 watt power supply for about $52 to $60 SGD on Carousel. 16 gigs of RAM from about 150 to 170 or so used. 256 gig SSD for about $60 to $70. This one you can buy it brand new on Lazada also for about the same price. And then in total, the build will cost around 900 to about 1k mark, which is quite good for the amount of performance you'll be getting. Overall, this build shows how well you can build a system in 2019. As you can see, it's a mixture of used and new parts. Yes, this is a slight gamble, but it's still quite worth it, as you can see from the results here. Just remember when you're picking up components to make sure that they either have a bit of warranty or your personal warranty with the person. And yes, if you're buying from the person, make sure they are a good seller and not someone who will con you. So this system here will be perfect to run on a 144Hz 1080p monitor, which in this case is a 1080p curved monitor, which I'll be reviewing in the next video coming up really soon, so stay tuned for that. If you do have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section down below or contact me through Instagram, where I can help you personally through text messages. So if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, share, comment down below, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.